Welcome to Adventures with Dice. I'm Rob and I'm your host for these videos. If you're new here and you find that you like the content that I put out, please consider subscribing and liking the videos. Those small clicks really help a channel like mine out. If you would further like to help out the channel, click on the Amazon wishlist link in the description of each video and you can choose some product to purchase that will help me continue to make content. You can also hit that join button and for $1 a month become an Adventures with Dice hero, which gives you a badge on your comments, early access to videos, and access to my members only videos. Now, with all of that self-promotion out of the way, I hope you enjoy the next video and stick around for future videos. God bless. Let's go.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This video is it's a story I have to tell that is just too cool not to tell. So, I've talked before about how it's amazing to me how many gamers are in church now as opposed to growing up in the 80s and seeing the satanic panic and wanting to burn books and so on and so forth. But it's no secret at my church that I run D&D games. I've run D&D games for my pastor and his family, or Dragonbane, but fantasy role-playing games. I've run them for kids at the church, and now apparently I do birthdays. I do birthday parties. I actually got hired to do a birthday party several years ago. When I was helping manage one of the local game stores. There was a lady who came in and her son wanted to have a D&D birthday party, and I told her I would do it, and she ended up, I told her I'd just pay me whatever you think is fair, which I think she paid me like $100 to run a D&D game for their birthday, which I went all out. I brought the kids their own dice that they got to keep and had pre-gen characters and so on and so forth. So I've done this kind of thing before, if I can talk this morning. I've done this kind of thing before, not just birthday parties, but teaching people to play the game, or play any of these role-playing games, really. And a few weeks ago, some friends of ours from church, we were sitting in Sunday school waiting on everything to start, and we kind of, chit-chat, and we hang out with them quite a bit. Their kids have been over here and played Old Swords Reign and stuff like that before. Well, her son, who is a young teen, he came to her and he said he wanted to have a D&D themed birthday party. And his mom goes all out. She made cool flyers for it that were, a call for heroes, and she made, I think she made like edible dice and tavern type snacks and stuff like that, and asked me if I would run a D&D game for his birthday party. And they know what D&D is, but her and her husband don't play, so they don't really know anything about the editions and so on and so forth. And he's wanting to get to a point to where he can play with his friends. And he's a very, very smart kid, very bright. So I said, yeah, obviously, of course, and I'm not going to charge them for it. They're friends of mine. But I decided, and I went back and forth on what kind of D&D to really come out and teaching. And I decided we're going to teach him basic D&D. And in fact, I made him, I've shown this off before. This is my copy, but I made another copy like this. This is a binder that has everything from the red box set in it, except the dice, which he already has dice because I gave him dice last time he was here to play. But the beauty of the red box, if you never played the original red box from '83, is you can open that thing up, and if you've never played a role-playing game before, it baby steps you. Frank Mincer's work was amazing in this box set, and it baby steps you through what a role-playing game is and how to play, and it goes through multiple solo adventures as you start seeing your character's stats fill in, and it explains how each thing works, from your strength score to rolling to hit to your hit points, everything about your character. And it amazes me how many people think that 5th Ed is the easiest version. 5th Ed is like complexity wise is way more complex than old school D&D. The old school D&D is just so much simpler to play. So I have created a pre-gen for all of the characters in the game, and I think there's 4 kids playing. I'm gonna let them pick whichever character they want. I'll have miniatures and stuff for them to use, and I'm gonna do the full spread. I'm gonna show them the wizard hat and robes, and or maybe I don't know. It might be kind of warm. I don't know. I might just do a wizard hat and a D&D t-shirt, but I'm gonna show up, run the game for them. There's gonna be cool maps and miniatures and monsters to fight. And when I prepare something like this, I have to keep in mind that these are new players. They have very little to no experience with it, but they want it, and they're young boys. So they're not looking for a deep political intrigue type game. They want to hit monsters, kill stuff, and grab gold. And that's easy. That's super easy to do. So I'm setting the world in Argosa because I'm doing a lot of Argosa stuff, which doesn't mean anything to them. It's just the name of the world. But I'm stealing the town of Threshold from the box set because that'll be familiar to him when he reads it, because I made him one just like this that I'm going to give him for his birthday after we play the game. That way he can sit and read through it, and he's a really bright young man, and he'll be able to pick up on it and teach his friends how to play. I'm also going to give him, map and tile sets and pawns, or not miniatures, but like the tokens with the heroes and monsters and stuff like that, so that he'll have everything he needs to run his own games of D&D, and at least through 3rd level. And then if he progresses and he wants to learn more, I'll make him one for the expert set and teach as we go. But we're going to start with the red box, and I just think it's phenomenal to see us come full circle to remember what it was like in the 80s getting into D&D and the stigma around it. And you definitely didn't go into a church and talk about D&D back in the day, because there was so much propaganda against it, as parents and churches at the time were trying to find anywhere that they could blame stuff on their kids, and D&D was a good target for that. And a lot of people think when they hear the Satanic Panic, they think that it was all about D&D, and it was. D&D was a big part of it, but it was also hitting heavy metal music, and that lifestyle, that look was all getting hit by the panic. And it all turned like I was talking to my dad the other day. I spend a lot of time with my dad. I'll go out and spend days with him now. And we were sitting there watching Star Trek one night and just talking back and forth. And I was talking about D&D, and I was like, it's funny because back in the day, in the 80s and early 90s, it was a fear that, this was going to turn us into devil worshippers, when all it did was turn us into a bunch of nerds. So I think it's funny that came around that way. And if you'd have told me in 1987, 1989, whatever, that I would be running Dungeons and Dragons birthday parties, not just for people at church, but we're playing in the youth building at church for his birthday party, where she's going to do it all up, to look, like a D&D tavern or something, or dungeon. I don't know. She does a lot of craft stuff. His mom. But if you'd have told me back then that I would be doing that, I would have been like, nah, you're crazy, man, because back then all they wanted to do was burn the books. But now, luckily, cooler heads have prevailed over the years, and we've seen that it is not the devil's game. That is Monopoly. Monopoly is the devil's game. Don't believe me? Play with my family. But I don't know. I just thought it was a cool story that I wanted to get out, that, yes, I'm not just your friendly local YouTuber, but I also do birthday parties for D&D. And I think it's cool. And I'd like to encourage anybody out there that if you get a chance to share old school D&D, which is very simple and easy to play, with a younger generation, take that opportunity to do it, because that's how we pass this hobby along. And it's, I don't know, I don't really pay attention to a lot of the fifth ed stuff, but I see a lot of the stuff related to fifth ed now. If you go on, or D&D 24, whatever it's called, I see a lot of the stuff related to it, like, oh, here's adventure ideas, and I'm going through these adventure ideas, and like most of them are like, oh, you're having a cooking competition, or you're having to prepare for a ball. And if that's what, does it for you, that's cool. It's not what does it for me, but I grew up in the age of, you take a bunch of zeros and start going into the dungeon and fighting monsters and collecting gold and dungeon diving, and that's what D&D is to me. And that's what this D&D is. So if you get a chance to pass that along, I would. I think it's well worth doing, letting the younger generation experience what basic D&D was and how fun and easy it is to play. That's really all I got. I just kind of wanted to put this out there. This is, of course, a members only video, or not a members only, but members get it first. So if you want early access to videos like this, or more in-depth game videos, then become a YouTube member on the channel. There's a link in the, I don't know, I think it's in the description or on the page. You'll see it. Anyway, hope everybody out there is doing good, and until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.